Hey everyone, this is Zooc again, bringing you a Dark Templar tutorial this time. Now I got asked to stray from the typical Zerg drawings that I do and draw something else, so I did. So this would be a first time drawing a Protos unit. But before we get into the drawing, I have a special shout out for my good friend and biggest fan, Darker Worlds, who has probably gotten banned about 5 times already on different accounts for posting the same stupid comments on videos on Total Biscuit's channel. And the thing is, he doesn't only post them on mine, he posts them on everything. And it's the same kind of retarded crap every time. So, what can I say? Darker Worlds, you are one sad motherfucker. Here we go. Now, as I said, this would be a first time drawing a Protoss unit, so I had a lot of troubles with it because, unlike Zerg, Protoss are, they're covered in their typical armors and whatnot, but the armors are they're very annoying to draw because they have all these embellishments and decorations and jewelry and crap surrounding the jewelry and metal rings and everything. So, you know, it's hard drawing something like that for the first time, I'll admit. But I think I eventually got to something decent with it. Now, the hardest thing I found to draw concerning this character were the hands. I swear to God, I've always been bad at drawing hands, so yesterday I decided to sort of teach myself how to draw hands properly, and it's funny enough because Protoss have 4 fingers, not 5, but anyway. I spent like an hour yesterday drawing hands in all positions. I felt like 6 pieces of paper with just hands. So I think I got it down pretty okay for this drawing with hands, but I'll keep practicing, obviously. Also, another difficult thing to draw were the stomach muscles. Those are pretty annoying as well, considering Protoss have sort of a humanoid anatomy, but it's not identical. Obviously not. They have more elongated bodies, and their torsos are longer than humans, and all that stuff. I used some reference for this character because I didn't know what the scythe looked like, I didn't know what the shoulders looked like. I thought the shoulders were symmetrical, but they're not. Apparently Dark Templars have like the skull of a hydra, I think it is, or some sort of animal on one of their shoulders, and the other one is a typical Protoss armor shoulder. Now here I get straight into the shading, and I'm using the same pencil I used on the beginning, the 7B. Drawing the skull under the the metal that frames it. Metal texture is pretty simple to draw. You just have to remember that the edges need to be shiny. So, you know, when you're shading, don't go all the way to the edge with the pencil. Leave a bit of white there, just to, give it the impression that the edge is made of a shiny material, else it'll look flat. Now the face of the Zealots and the Dark Templars are very elongated, and their chins resemble that of, if you've ever seen a statue in ancient Egypt, it's kind of the same thing, a succession of rings around the chin, just like the pharaoh statues, if you watch the History Channel, which I imagine you don't, but anyway. The hair is also pretty easy, it's just a bunch of tubes. I found it funny how Blizzard mixes so many elements from different civilizations and cultures into their units. Like, these are basically identical to dreadlocks. And the face is taken from Egypt, and the elements on the armor are taken from ancient architecture. And, it's just a bunch of stuff that they mix into the units, which is part of the reason why I like drawing them so much, because they're so diverse, and I find them fascinating. I'm just shading in the collar / shield that's on his chest now. It seems to also be made of metal. I'm not sure what the hell it's made of. It's a fantasy creature, so you can never really know. Oh shit! Uh-oh, it's a pack of cigarettes. Oh no, that's that's gonna be something for the anti-smoking extremist retards to comment on later on. So anyway, the head of the Dark Templar is encased in a couple of Hydra jaws, I imagine. and I drew them my usual way, the way I portrayed in the previous video with the drawing horns and all that stuff. I left the scythe as the last thing because the scythe I found pretty interesting to draw. Not quite hard, but you'll see later on. At that point in the drawing I was already kind of getting sick of it, so I got bored and I didn't make it as good looking as I could have if I had a fresh view on it. Which is one thing to take into consideration if you ever want to take up drawing. It's good to not do it for like 6 hours straight. You should take long breaks. Long breaks are always good because if you get bored with it, you're gonna want to finish it. And when you want to finish it fast, you make mistakes, even on purpose. Just don't correct them, and you don't care about them anymore. So just take long breaks as often as you can. Sometimes even overnight. Now, I erased the entire shoulder there because it didn't really quite fit into perspective very well, and the skull looked strange. The brows were too big. And yes, I realize this does not look like a Hydra skull, but I really don't care at this point. I'm just drawing something that looks beastly, if you want to call it that. Just doing the classic metal texture again with I like to add a lot of little cracks and holes in armor pieces because it gives them character. It's never good to make something completely perfect and shiny and completely round, and unless you're drawing like industrial design for cars and even conceptual industrial design for movies and all that stuff, then sure. But if you're just drawing for fun, then do whatever feels fun for you. Now, I'm of the opinion that every single piece of armor and weapon has to have a selling point. And what I mean by selling point generally is something that just makes it special, something that makes the viewer say, ooh, that's cool. So that's very easy to achieve. It's all part of detailing. Once you get more advanced in drawing, you're gonna start getting better at detailing and come up with your own patterns, or that might not be the exact pattern that's on the Dark Templar glove, but I don't care. It's something simple that looks good. Just a couple of segmented metal rings, and that's it. Now here I'm drawing the stomach without any sort of knowledge of anatomy, and it took a while. Of course you can't see it now, but it took like I think 15 minutes to get a proper stomach down. And I erased a lot, and I even paused the video at one point to look up some stomach muscle images on Google Images, because it was getting pissed off at the fact that I couldn't get the rib muscles right, the side muscles. Now, this hand in this position is what I spent an hour on yesterday. It looks easy, but it's not. If you've never drawn hands, or if you've always been bad at drawing hands, getting a hand down in that position is a pain in the ass, because foreshortening is something that a lot of artists have issues with. And foreshortening is basically when a finger is pointing towards you. If you want to draw it then it means that the hand is foreshortened, or the finger is foreshortened. So you have to draw it what it looks like pointing towards you, which is harder than it seems. You can trust me on that one. I'm just doing my own decoration here. Protos armor have an interesting design. They look ancient, but they're high technology. So it's one thing I sort of like about Protos, because they're a mix of high tech and ancient, old and new, and it's a nice balance. They're not like Marines, which are 100% high tech. Now the legs are wrapped in sort of cloth or bandages, something that resembles bandages. Best way to draw that I found is just make very regular contour lines, and then just basically draw very thin lines following the contour of the legs or the member that they wrap around, and then just shade as if you were shading just muscle, just skin. And basically that's kind of like cross-hatching. You draw the verticals and then you draw the horizontals, and they intersect, and they make for an interesting texture on paper. You might not see it here, but it looks pretty good on paper. Like, it actually seems like there's fabric and not just exposed skin. Starting to draw the plates covering the knees. Now there was a lot of erasing in this drawing because being something that I've never drawn before, you're prone to make mistakes, and that's why a lot of people are feeling discouraged when they first start drawing, because you know it's very rare that you get something perfect on the first go, especially when it's something that you haven't done before. Hand-to-eye coordination it's not instant for a lot of people. It takes practice, and just like anything new, you have to practice to be good at it. So, for example, I've never drawn an armor plate that's shaped like that, and of course the shape is not going to be perfect on the first go. Maybe in a few years from now when I've drawn like hundreds of drawings, sure, but I don't really have that much experience with drawing yet compared to some people. I mean, hell, I've only done like probably under 30 drawings in total in the last 3 years that are of this complexity or resembling this complexity. Now the plates surrounding the, I guess, shin bones are they were quite easy to make. I didn't go into a lot of detail with them because as I said, I was already getting kind of bored at this point, so I just wanted to get it done as fast as possible. Now the scythe was pretty interesting. I think I spent about half an hour trying to draw the actual blade, which is in the game and in the concept art, it's made of psi energy or energy. As you can see there, I'm trying to draw lightnings. I'm doing my best, I promise, but it just doesn't work. So I erased the whole thing and I drew like a typical scythe blade with rusted metal texture. Because I probably would have gotten it down eventually, but I've never drawn lightning, so I didn't want to spend 2 hours researching technique and whatnot just to get this done. I just wanted to get the video done. I mean, right now it's 5:30 a.m. while I'm recording this, so I've been drawing since about 12 with breaks on and off. Speaking of breaks, I was gonna say something about that. Take a lot of breaks. And I know I said take long breaks at the beginning, but I'm talking about while drawing, you should take a lot of breaks. I, for example, take breaks every 30 minutes. I smoke a cigarette, check my email, browse the internet for a bit. I don't look at the drawing at all, and it's very important that you do that. Like any sort of artist that you listen to in a tutorial is gonna say take breaks and don't look at what you're doing. And the reason for that is your eye gets used to what it sees. Just like when you're sitting next to someone that's wearing a very heavy perfume. At first it smells really bad and then you get used to it. But if you leave the room, or if he leaves the room for 1 minute and he comes back, you're gonna smell it just as strong as the first time. And that was about it for the Dark Templar. I had fun drawing it. I'm probably gonna do more units because they're very complex compared to Zerg units. Like Zerg are very random. Protos have to actually require some sort of thought process and perspective knowledge and practice. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you got something from it yet again. And thank you for all the positive comments that you've given me on my first tutorial. I'll definitely be making more. I'll probably be making only tutorials from now on because, what can I say? People want to learn, and that's a good thing. So I'll see you next time. Bye.